Hello, YouTube. Welcome back to my recap of Transfer Love. Today we're doing episode 13 and 14. A lot of stuff happened, and I would like to say that finally the production team is doing their work, because I think like the previous episodes, like the editing and all of that was like kind of boring in some ways, but like now they're really ramping things up. It's pretty exciting, and I think from now on all the episodes will be a banger, especially if they keep releasing 2 episodes a week. Let's just get into it. All right, so we start the show immediately with problems, and shockingly enough, it has nothing to do with Hyunji and her 2 exes. When episode 12 ended, Woojin texted Jiyeon and was like, I want to talk on the terrace on the 4th floor. She was like, all right, bet. They go to talk on the terrace, and he's basically like, I thought about it all day, and even after going to the X room and going on dates with other people, I'll go on dates with other people and I come back. It doesn't matter how good of a person that person is. Even when I go on dates with them, I come back to the house and all I can do is think of you. The dreams of him moving on are shattered because this man cannot move on. He cannot move on. She's basically like, I don't believe you. I don't believe that you are actually sincere in getting back together. She's like, is it not just like that you're just like jealous seeing me with other people or whatever? He's like, no, like I really genuinely thought about it so many times before coming to talk to you about it. Like I genuinely feel like you are the only person for me. At the end of the day, I still miss you. I still have feelings for you, and I just can't move on from you. And he's like, I know that you're not gonna believe me, but you just like wait, because I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you that I'm sincere or whatever. So then Jiyeon starts crying. He's like, don't cry, don't cry. And she's like, just thinking about the time when I was like lonely, it makes me cry. Like, what do you want me to do? And she's like, you never wanted to hang out with me or spend free time with me back then. And he's like, no, I did. And she's like, what do you mean, no, you did? That's why we broke up. No, you didn't. And then she also mentioned, she was like, you never even wrote a letter for me. The first and last letter I received from you was the X letter. So if you guys remember, the X letter, all the way from episode 1, it's the letter that the exes write to each other, basically introducing their exes, and it's a handwritten letter. Now, in Korean dating culture, something that I've noticed is handwritten letters are very important. Whenever people want to be sincere or something, they want to show how much they care about someone else, they write a handwritten letter. So the fact that they dated for like a year, she is saying that the only handwritten letter she's ever received from him was the X letter that introduces her to the rest of the cast essentially on day 1 of the show. That's crazy. It's so interesting to me because now I understand more and more like why he still has lingering feelings, and maybe why she just has nothing left but like hatred for him. She made all this effort during the relationship. More and more like seeing more and more more of their like backstory coming out. I understand why she acts the way she acts in the house. It's not just like her saying like, oh, I don't want to get back together or anything like that. I think part of it is that she wants to make him feel like shit a little bit as a part of like revenge. It's petty and it's not like good, but it's like when we were dating, I sacrificed so much to date you. I didn't sleep and I spent all night making you lunches and food and stuff, and we always had dates at my house because you were never free, and you used to say that all of my holidays will be yours, and then when time passed you were like, don't assume that my free days are automatically yours, blah blah blah. So she feels like so wronged in this relationship. Most importantly, she never even received a handwritten letter from her ex. If you compare that to like Baekhyun, who, I can't believe I'm becoming a Baekhyun apologist, but Baekhyun, who when he was dating Hyunji, wrote her a letter every single day while he was in the military. I mean, the comparison is just like, damn. Then he's like, oh, should I get an A4 like paper and write down to you like fully my conviction or whatever? And he's like, oh, well, then will you believe me? They start laughing. He's kind of jokingly saying this. They clearly have like the same sense of humor. And she's like, fill up the whole page with the words on this topic and give it back to me. And make sure there's no space on that page. Like, I want it filled to the brim with words. That's basically what she says. And like, they're both kind of joking, but she's also kind of not. She is a little bit serious. And then he's like, when we broke up, it was harder for me than I expected. And she was like, good, it's fine for you to have a hard time because it was really hard for me. And then there's a moment of pause because he's like upset. And then he's like, okay, we should get up. And she's like, no, I want to eat ramen before sleeping. And then she goes, can you make me some ramen? Like, he's like, oh, you want to eat it here? And she's like, no, I'll wait in my room. Like, I'll eat it in the room. And he's like, yeah, that's better because there's a lot of bugs. And then he reaches out to her, I think to like brush the bugs away, but she pulls away. And she's like, don't touch me. Like, they suddenly become so childish here. They leave the terrace. And she's like, don't make me ramen with like cup noodles. I want you to like boil the noodles yourself, like make it a proper meal or whatever. And make it super duper delicious and bring it back. And he's like, okay. So he goes to make her ramen and he brings it back. He's like, oh, did you drink a lot? And she's like, yeah, I drank a lot. And he's like, what's a lot? She was like, 2 bottles of wine. He's like, really? You drank that much? And she was like, yeah, what about it? And he starts laughing. He's like, I got it. You must be hungry. And then you guys, this shit is embarrassing. Look at this shit. He's like, oh, I don't want you to like spill it on your shirt or whatever. He lifts the bowl for her. Are we joking right now? He lifts the bowl off the floor and he holds it for her. And then he's also like, oh, do you want soup too? He picks up the spoon and he feeds her the soup on the spoon like she is a baby. What am I looking at? I've never seen a man so desperate to get back together with somebody in my life. Low-key, she's walking him like a dog, and I'm not even mad. Like, this is actually really impressive. The power she holds over this man is crazy. He's being like really kind and being like, oh, holding the bowl for her and feeding her or whatever. And so she starts crying again. And I understand why she's crying, because she's just like, you could have done this while we were dating. Why are you doing this now? When I wanted to see you and I wanted to spend time with you and I couldn't see you for weeks, you weren't around. But now you want to get back together after I've decided I'm moving on. And now you want to lift the bowl for me and feed me soup and treat me like a princess. Like, and her mind is kind of like, fuck you. You should have done that earlier. And like, she tells him that she wants a different kind of ramen. Like, now she wants to eat spicy ramen. So she makes him go back to the kitchen and he comes back. And then she's like, no, I want you to heat it up in the microwave. So he goes and he reheats it in the microwave. And then she's like, why didn't you put egg in the ramen? I said, show sincerity. Like, oh my Lord. And he's like, oh, be careful not to get like sauce in your clothes or whatever. And she's like, I'll take care of myself. And then she starts crying again. Because once again, it's kind of like, after all this time, you're only doing this now. You could have done this earlier. So I kind of get where she's coming from. And this is all like a test, essentially. I'm going to be difficult and I'm going to be a bitch. Like, can you really take it? And I think like on some level, he understands that. And to be honest, he's enjoying it because he gets to play her boyfriend again. Like, he keeps laughing and smiling while doing all this. And when he goes to microwave the ramen, he looks a little bit frustrated. But once he comes back, he's just happy to see her. It's just like he is excited to play her boyfriend again. Yeah, she's sitting there. She's eating the ramen. He's, waiting on her hand and foot. And then he asks her, he's like, oh, so do you really like Wonggyu? Like, do you really, really like him? And she gets annoyed and she's like, why are you asking me if I like Wonggyu? Like, I've told you so many times that yes, I do like have some level of feelings for him. Like, I feel like you're always like suspicious. Like you think that I'm being dishonest or something about like my feelings or whatever. And he's like, no, it's just like, I'm just like really curious. That's why I'm asking. I need to ask to know. I can't even ask. Like, she gets annoyed and she's like, it's not that you can't ask. It's that like, you're always asking the same thing. It just feels like you don't trust me. And he's like, look at all the effort I'm making. You know that I'm a prideful person. Like, at the very least, like, I would like you to acknowledge that like, I'm trying my best or whatever. And to not like ignore me. Like, this is not easy for me. This is hard for me. She's like, oh, is it hard? And he's like, of course it's hard or whatever. Like, I want you to be a little bit open to getting back together. Just acknowledge that I'm working hard. And she's like, I am entertaining the idea of getting back together. That's why we're sitting here right now. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. And so the two of them are just kind of annoyed with each other, essentially. And that's basically how the conversation ends. I just feel like it's going to be really hard for him to move on. Like, at this point, he's basically said, no matter what I do, all I do is think about you. And I thought she wouldn't give any leeway to get back together. surprisingly, she's entertaining this. She says in the interview that she's like, it was petty of her. Like, she just kind of wanted to make him feel kind of how she felt and have a hard time, essentially. So on some level, like, some of this behavior, like her being like, do this, do that, you want to get back together? Show me, prove it to me. That's why she's acting like this. But she's acting like this because she is actually really hurt. And so now I wonder if, like, everything she did around the house is just because, like, she's just been so hurt and, like, she broke up, so it was like we left it behind. But if he's trying to get back together, then he has to acknowledge how hurt she is. I think another thing is, like, that during this conversation, like, when he got annoyed at her because he was like, oh, can't I ask? I can't even ask about, like, if your feelings for Wongu are real or whatever. I was kind of like, no, you can't ask. Like, let's think about it this way. It's not about whether her actions are right or wrong, or whether he actually can ask or can't ask. The problem here is that she doesn't want to get back together and you want to get back together. The person who wants to get back together, who is trying to convince somebody who's told you, like, many, many times, I don't want to get back together, I don't want to get back together, that means that you are in a losing position. You understand? If you are in that losing position, you are the person who has to grovel. So she tells you can't ask. Yeah, you can't ask. And if it was like, I'm not saying this just because he's a guy and she's a girl. If it was switched and she's the one who wanted to get back together and she was asking, I would say, like, yeah, you can't ask because you're the one who wants it. They're doing you a favor by entertaining this idea. Realistically, if this is the goal you are trying to achieve, then getting annoyed at the person who they don't even currently want you right now, that doesn't help your cause. If he wants to be successful, if she says grovel, I fear, bro, you have to grovel. Because you're the one who wants it, not her. So moving on. So you should go to Seungyoung's room. He asks her, are you okay? She's like, no, my eye hurts. She starts to cry. He brings her over to the room next door. And she's like, oh, my nails are all broken. Hyunji hits me in my sleep. Wah. And he's like, no, she didn't hit you. And she's like, the two of you are doing well together. It's the same as you guys hitting me. Then he goes, be quiet. Like, it's so funny because he initially approached her to ask her if she was okay. But then the minute she brings up the fact that she's like, I feel emotionally, all of this is happening, my eye having problems and my nails being broken and my health, my physical health going down the drain. This is all because I'm hurt by how you've been treating me in the house. The minute she makes it known that it's his fault, essentially, that she is in pain mentally and physically, he's like, actually, never mind, I don't give a fuck about you. So once again, Yushik sucks. She's like, I already know everything. I know that you guys are doing well. Like, you and Hyunji are doing good together. And she's like, my eye became like this because of stress. And he's like, oh, you can't really tell though. And she continues and she's like, oh, from the beginning, you've completely ignored me. And he's like, was I supposed to be friendly with you then? And she's like, I'm sorry that I said it that way. I'm like really sorry. I shouldn't have said it like that. Like, she immediately apologizes. And she's like, I'm sorry I confused you by not messaging you. But that's just how I feel like right now. And then in the middle of their conversation, Woojin knocks on the door. So Mingyung has to go hide in the bathroom, which is kind of funny. She goes to hide in the bathroom and then Woojin gets his stuff and he leaves because he realizes that Yushik is clearly in here talking to somebody. And so they sit down here again. And he's like, you should go to the hospital tomorrow. And then he tells her, like, maybe you should hurry up and pack or whatever. And it's like clear that he's trying to end the conversation. And she's like, I need to know, do you have zero feelings for me? Like, I need to know this for sure so I can move on or not or whatever. And he's like, do you want me to be really honest? And she's like, are you going to hurt me again? And then he sighs. He's like, ugh. And he's like, what do you want? Like, do I need to tell you? Should I tell you what you want to hear? And he's like, will that help you? And she's like, no. And then she goes, oh, you must be happy that you're going to Japan for a trip. Why did you come to me asking about my eye and being worried about me? Because you're making me misunderstand when you do that. And he's like, fine, I won't come to you anymore. And she's like, what do you mean you won't come? I thought you said you would go where your heart desires. And he's like, you're right. I am gonna go where my heart desires. I can't even worry about you now. And she's like, I don't want to talk anymore. And she goes to her room. essentially. So that's how that conversation ends. I just feel bad for Mingyung. Mingyung clearly wants to get back together, and Yushik clearly doesn't want to get back together. When he was worried about her eye, he was worried about her as human to human. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I saw someone on the street limping and I was like, oh damn, that looks like that hurts. Are you okay? Like that. Like, he's not worried about her because he still loves her anyway romantically. He's just worried about her as like a human. The feelings he had for Mingyung now are like good memories. He doesn't love her anymore. That's it. And I feel bad for Mingyung because she's having a hard time accepting that. She has not moved on. Like, that's the truth. She hasn't moved on. They're not going to get back together. Like, in old seasons, there are couples who didn't choose each other in the final selection at the end of the show, but then they got back together after the show. But in those situations, those couples, like, I still feel like they had lingering feelings and then they just chose to do other things. But the thing is, Yushigi so clearly has no feelings for her. And that's why even when the show ends, they won't get back together. I believe that when the show ended, Mingyung would have contacted him and tried to ask him to get back together, but he wouldn't have accepted it. He would have been like, I'm going on my own way. And that would have been the end of that. Mingyung is going to need a lot of time. She's going to look at a lot of time and a lot of therapy to recover from this shit. As for Yushik, as I've always said, the issue is not that he doesn't want to get back together. The issue is that he's lied about wanting to get back together and pretends like it's Mingyung's fault that he decided to move on. And only now, as time goes on, is he showing more of his true colors. Like, he's finally ready to tell her the truth, but he makes it seem like it's her fault that he came to that truth. You never wanted to get back together in the first place. You've been lying since the day the show started. You have been lying. Like, I don't care. Like, and like, you've been trying to set things up so that you don't look like the bad guy. But everyone can see through your act. You're an asshole. Goodbye. Wongyu's in trouble again because he has no ability to think. All right. The girls are upstairs. They're getting ready to go to Japan. People are talking about like their exes, whether or not they ever went on overseas trips with their exes, blah, blah, blah. And then Yushik goes upstairs. He's looking for Jian. And he's like, hey, look at what Wongyu bought me. And then Jihan comes to the door, seeing that like Jian and Yushik are talking in front of the door. And he's like, oh, I heard you guys picked it out together. And then that's when Jihan becomes aware that Wongyu went on a date with Jian earlier. Now to her, this is kind of crazy because he texted her today and he said he got the shirt returned from Jian. Remember, he gave his shirt away and Jian was wearing it, parading with it around the house. Then he got it back. He asked her on a date. He does these things to her that makes her think that he wants to get back together and he is choosing to walk the I'm gonna get back together route, not the I'm gonna go with someone new route. But then he does this other shit. He goes on dates and, you know, he gives the shirt. Like, it's like stuff like that. It just feels like he's like flip-flopping back and forth from her perspective. So this makes her upset. So she goes downstairs and she signals to him like secretly to come outside. And so they go outside. They're talking in front of the house door or whatever. And she's basically like, so the fuck is going on? He's like, what? And she's like, everyone is saying you and Jian went out on a date today. And he was like, oh, I didn't mean for it to be on a date. Initially, I was with Jian and Yushik in the living room and we were talking about how we needed clothes and Yushik was saying he ordered some already and Jian was like, oh, I need clothes too. So it just ended up that we went together, but I didn't ask her on the date. Now, remember episode 12? I said this. I said he was not trying to go on a date with Jian. Jian is the one who was like, oh, let's do a shopping date. And then he didn't say no. He's spineless. He's spineless as fuck. He doesn't know how to say no to women specifically. So he just accepts it and goes along with it. And he thinks it's enough that he knows that he doesn't mean it like that. It doesn't matter if you're the only one who knows you don't mean it like that. If everybody else has the interpretation that you guys are going on a date and you only know internally that it wasn't like that and you don't express that to everyone else, you have now created a false perception of what is going on to everyone. Your ex, to Jian, to everybody in the house. Jian thinks you guys went on a date. Do you know how disrespectful it is to Jian to do this? I was really annoyed at Wonggyu here because it doesn't make any sense for him to say it wasn't a date when I went out with Jian, just the two of us, because I thought it wasn't a date. That's basically what he said. Well, I didn't consider it a date, so it's not a date. But Jian thinks it's a date. This is disrespectful, not just to the ex that he's trying to get back together to, but also to Jian. Like, she is being led on massively. She has no idea any of this is going on. If I'm Jian and I'm watching the show after the fact, I'm pissed, by the way. I am pissed if I'm her. Because this would all feel very disrespectful to me. I would be like, so you were playing me the whole time. By the way, she feels the same way too. She's like, everyone sees you guys as having gone out on a date, and if the two of you go alone, then yeah, that's a date. Yushik said that you guys even chose clothes for each other, and he was like, oh, well, it wasn't my intention. And she's like, it doesn't matter if that was your intention. I came downstairs not even able to control my expression because of what I heard. And then she was like, why are you doing this to me? Are you playing me? Like, are you playing me right now? Are you fucking with me right now? And I was thinking to myself, yo, Jian would probably think the same thing watching this after the whole show ended. Like, oh, so he was playing the both of us. Cause like he texted her during the day. Well, and then he asked for the shirt back, but he gave it to her before, but he wants to get back with his ex, and he asks his ex out on a date, and then he tells her like, oh, you make me annoyed. But then he goes on Jian with the shopping date, but then he goes behind her back and says it wasn't a date. And like, he gives her the t-shirt, but then he tells everybody she stole it from him. Like, make up your mind. You can't have everything. You just can't. Who are you going for? Are you getting back with your ex? Or are you going to get with someone new? Pick your direction and stick to it. And I think in his mind, he's like, well, I am trying to get back together. Then do more to act like you're trying to get back together. Do more. Like, you can't just get back together for free. I feel like that's also part of it. Like, I feel like he just wants to get back together for free. I don't think he thinks he should have to work that hard. I don't think he has reflected on the things that he did in the relationship and how they hurt Jihyun and what he could have done better. And she was like, everyone upstairs is talking about how you guys bought clothes and how Jihyun bought like stuff for Yushik and for you. And she was like, do you have zero thoughts on how this looks doing this with another girl? And he was like, but it wasn't like that. And she was like, okay, so I can pursue other guys, right? And he's like, if after coming back, I had texted Jian, I could understand why you would misunderstand in that way. But I texted you. So, and then that's when she's like, are you fucking with me? And she's like, why do you keep doing shady shit behind my back? And he's like, what do you mean shady? And she's like, your words and your actions are different. And he's like, my words are exactly what I told you in the text. And she's like, when you texted me to stop drinking coffee? And he's like, oh, did you not like the content of the message I sent you? I guess you didn't understand what I meant when I wrote that. I thought I was expressing myself really well, but I guess I didn't. And she's just like upset. And he's like, why am I getting an earful right now? Like, why am I getting scolded right now, essentially? And they both go back inside. Like, they basically end the conversation like that. And they both go back inside, and she's like, making ramen and stuff. He sees her making ramen. He goes into the kitchen, and she's like, you know what? I crossed the line getting mad at you. Do whatever you want. We already broke up. And he was like, you must have been really upset when you got the message. I don't know why he's so hung up on the text. This has nothing to do with the text at all, and everything to do with what he's doing. And she was like, just go do well with Jian. And he was like, do you mean that seriously? She was like, oh, you weren't good to me when you had me, but now you want to try to be good to me now that we've broken up. And she's like on the verge of tears. And he's like, what do you mean I wasn't good to you while we dated? I thought I was pretty good. This is exactly what I'm talking about. And what is it? She's holding the ramen, and she's pouring out the water in the ramen, and she's like, look, see, you don't even help me with like pouring out the ramen. This is heavy or whatever. So then he's like, I was drinking water. That's why I didn't have a chance to help you. Like, it's so stupid watching them go back and forth. She's just like, you have an ability to make people angry. And he's like, you too. And she's like, no, you more. And he's like, no, you fucking more. And she's like, you fucking way more. Like, they're like going back and forth, who's more legendary. She's like, no, you're a legend for real. And like making someone angry. And he's like, no, you're a fucking legend. And she's like, no, you're a fucking legend. It is so stupid. Just get back together. Enough. Get these guys off the show. Y'all want each other so bad. I don't want this for her, by the way. I can't stand this man. But like, she wouldn't be getting mad if she didn't care. She cares. That's why she keeps getting mad. And she tells him he annoys her and he tells her you annoy me. Like, they're mad at each other because they still love each other. I've watched the show, 4 seasons now? And the couples who fight the most always get back together. So just to let you know, these guys are getting back together. Even if they don't choose each other in the show, I guarantee you after the show, they'll go on Instagram and be like, we got back together. I promise you this. They're not done. Like, they are not done with each other. And it's unfortunate because I really don't want her to get back together with him. I hope I'm wrong. I'm praying I'm wrong. You know Ditto, like the Pokemon Ditto? And like how Ditto can change shape to whoever? He's just like that. He has no opinions. It's like he's a glass with no water inside. Like, there's nothing, whatever you pour in, that's what the glass becomes. If you pour in water, it's a glass of water. And if you pour in juice, it's a glass of juice. He is incapable of just like choosing something. He doesn't want to choose because he's not willing to make anyone unhappy. Yushik is a gaslighter. Yushik is a gaslighter and a liar, but at least he knows what he wants. He doesn't make it clear and he tries to blame it on the other person, but at least we know he knows what he wants. It's not even that Won Yu doesn't know what he wants. It's that he just allows himself to be pushed any way or another. Not you comparing him to a shape-shifting blob. But he is one! When he's with Jian, he's all about Jian. And then when he's with Jihan, it's like there's 2 separate people in that body. He can't make up his mind. Anyways, so that's what happens at night. Don't worry, because there's also problems in the morning. So Hyunji comes home at night and she sees Baekhyun and Yoonyoung talking when she comes home. Obviously, she's mad. She's jealous because she wants to get back together with Baekhyun. So they go out to the terrace and she's like, are you happy? And he's like, of course I'm happy. I'm excited to go on a trip. And he's like, oh, what's going on? Let me get you a blanket because it's cold out or whatever. So she puts a blanket over him just to let you know the sun is coming up. None of these people have slept. In this house, they don't sleep, bro. He's like, what? You don't want to go to Japan? She was like, no, I was just thinking that now that we're going, we won't be able to talk much. And in the interview, she says like, oh, I've always had lingering feelings for Baekhyun. She finally admits it and that she's decided to be honest now that they're going to Japan before it's too late. You should have done this, I don't know, 3 days ago. But anyways, and she tells him like, I just keep feeling regretful. And he's like, oh, what do you mean? Like by your choices or your actions? And she's like, I regret not talking to you more. I came into the house open to getting back together. And he's like, with me? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, I don't necessarily want to get back together, but you should do what you want to do. And to be honest, if you decided to try to get back together with me, I would have definitely been confused and I would have been shaken. And she was like, I just didn't want to do all that to you though. And she was like, because even if I work hard and I push forward towards you and I make an effort, it doesn't mean that we'll get back together. Even if we get back together, it doesn't mean our relationship will work out afterwards. And how I feel alone isn't important for a couple that wants to get back together. And he's like, that's why I kept asking you, like, do you want to get back together or is there someone you like? And she's like, well, what about you? Do you have any desire to get back together? And he's like, well, when we did the pre-meeting before the house, I can't say I had zero desire to get back together. And then she's like, oh, when they asked you if you want to get back together or get with someone new, what did you say? And he's like, I said I want to get someone new. With the clocks. They're talking about the clocks here. And she's like, okay, I understand. And he's like, I don't want to hurt you, but I also don't want to be hurt by you. And that's why I don't want to get back together. And she's like, I didn't realize you were like that from the beginning. And she was like, well, as long as you're happy, that's all that matters. And he's like, well, I want that for you too. I didn't know you were feeling this way. And she's like, I guess after all this time, I still like you. Like, I guess after all this time, it's still you. And then Baekhyun starts to sigh and he starts to like shake his head back and forth. Like he's holding his face in his hands. He's like, I'm going crazy or whatever. And he starts to pace around the terrace, like clearly doesn't know what to do. And then eventually he's just like, let's go inside. And while going inside, he's like, I should have never met you. You're the one person in my life I should have never crossed paths with. And then like before they go inside, he's like, why? What made me like you so much? And like, she's like, me too. I also liked you a lot too or whatever. And then that's kind of how that conversation ends. So what I like about this is that Hyunji is finally being honest. It took you like 4 days to do so. 4 or 5 days to do. It took her like a whole ass week, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just like, why did it take you so long? If she had just been honest from the start, he would have considered getting back together. But at this point, he's in too deep with Yoonyoung. And like, I think Baekhyun, the reason why, even though he loved Hyunji so much, and I think in some ways, part of him still will always love her, but the reason why he cannot bring himself to commit to getting back together is because their relationship was so toxic. You understand? All they did was fight and break up, fight and break up, fight and break up. It was extremely, extremely passionate, extremely, extremely emotional. And so it was that much more exhausting. And he remembers that. He knows what it was like, even though he's never loved anyone to the extent that he loved Hyunji. And he sees himself in his 20s having fully been made by Hyunji, essentially. But he also doesn't want to be in a relationship that takes that much out of him ever again. He doesn't think he can do it. He knows that he hurt her too, and he doesn't want to do that either. I think though, like if there were two people who would get back together and could fix their issues, I think they could do it. That's why, like, the only couple, I can't believe I'm saying this, but the only couple I support getting back together on this show is them. They are the only couple I support getting back together. And this is so crazy. I would be probably the only person who thinks this way. And I know they won't get back together. I know they won't get back together because he's doing too well with someone else. She's doing too well with someone else. Too much time has passed. And most importantly, he doesn't want to be in a relationship like that again. But I think they could do well because they're older now, so they have less ability to be emotionally exhausted. But to be honest, the bond between them is so palpable even on screen. You can feel it so strongly, even through the camera, that I think that because they're older, some of the dumb things that caused their fights earlier wouldn't happen now. Like, they would know how to speak and express themselves better because they already failed once. They would do a better job at like setting boundaries. Most importantly, Baekhyun treats Hyunji the way she like wants to be treated ideally in a relationship. He like gives everything to her. Even now, like he acknowledges what needs to be acknowledged and he apologizes and he appeals to her. He appeals to her emotional self, which is what something she craves for. And I think the reason why the other ex who comes in of hers later, the reason why she doesn't seem to have many feelings for him is because he didn't do a good job of that. Between Baekhyun and SeungYong, I think she felt more loved by Baekhyun. She came on this show to get back together with Baekhyun. Baekhyun came on this show to promote himself as an actor. And her other ex came on this show to get back together with Hyunji. And you guys will see that in a hot minute. All right, they go to Japan, bro. We are gonna zoom through these dates. So Jian and Wonggyu have their date in Japan. By the way, remember, this is literally the day after he talked to Jihyun. Literally, so he's with Ji-yeon right now, okay? Literally, last night, he told his ex about this girl. He said, Ji-yeon, I didn't mean to go on a date with her. I don't see it like that. I'm trying to get back together with you. Then he goes on this date with Ji-yeon, and he's like, I'm gonna stop caring about what my ex thinks. Let me get this straight. Last night you said, I didn't actually want to go on a date with Jiyeon. But now you're on a date with Jiyeon and you're like, I'm going to stop caring about what my ex thinks. And he's like, when I'm with you, I'm only going to focus on you. This is what Jiyeon is talking about. So when she calls you shady, this is, by the way, look at this. On the date, she did not ask him to do this. He saw she was cold, so he picks up the blanket and he wraps it around her twice. He knocks this shit twice. She did not tell him to do that. That's my point. He focuses on who's in front of him. When he's with Jiyeon, he's all about Jiyeon. And when he's with Jihyun, he's about Jihyun. He's ditto. He doesn't have an opinion of his own. He is only filled with the opinions that others put inside of him. Like, do you understand? Spineless bitch. Please, I'm begging you. Grow some cojones, please. Stand on business, whether that's for Jiyeon or Jihyun, I don't care. Even Yushik looks better than you right now. Yo, the gaslighter looks better than you right now. At least he's starting to make it. He's still pretending that it's his ex's fault that he wants to be with someone else. But at least he's saying he wants to be with someone else. I can't with him. Jiyeon is pitiful. She doesn't know that she's being played. Jihyun kind of knows that she's being played. Jiyeon doesn't know that she's being played. I need you to make up your mind. We move on. Ji-hyun and SeungYong go on a date. This is really cute. Remember, this is Hyunji's other ex. This is ex number 2, but he's the more recent one. And people online are calling him SeungYong Queen because like his reactions and stuff are like really, like they're kind of zesty. Do you know what I mean? Like he has zesty energy, but it's like fun. Like they were talking about curry and like they were talking about how they both like Thai food. And she was talking about all the Thai food he likes. And she was like, green curry. And he was like, pew! Like, it was really cute. He has got the zesty vibes and they are happy. This whole date, Jihyun is the happiest I've ever seen her. Both of them looked really stressed in the house, but together they look so happy. It's so nice to see. It's such a breath of fresh air. He's just so fun compared to all the guys in the house. He's so free. You know what I mean? I was so happy watching this. I watched this scene twice. Yoonyeon and Baekhyun go on a date. Baekhyun has always dated older women, so he's never been called oppa before. Remember, I've said this before, but like in Korean, you call someone oppa if they're older than you. Like if you're a girl and the guy's older than you, you call them oppa. And like guys like to hear oppa. Yoonyoung was like, oh, oppa, this or whatever. Like she asked him a question and she's like, blah, 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 oppa. And then he went, oppa? He smiled so big because he never has had a romantic interest of his call him oppa because he's only ever dated older women. And he's like, wow, so this is why guys like to date younger girls. Oh, also on the way home, they held hands. So they were in the car and they're like, you know how like when people compare hand sizes, which is really just an excuse to hold hands, but they're like comparing hand sizes. And then they're like, then Baekhyun like interlocks his fingers with her fingers and she like starts to laugh and she hits him. And like they're all like shy. And I was like, they're set. They're going home together. Continuing. Hyunji and Yushik go on a date. No one cares. I don't care. You don't care. Nobody cares. I still hate Yushik. I don't hate Hyunji. Mingyang and Jaehyung and Ujin they didn't match up with anybody to go to Japan. So the 3 of them go on a date together. And it's actually really nice because Mingyang, now that she's finally away from Yushik, she's not with her ex anymore. She's like bright again. She's happy. She's fun. She's flirty. Woojin starts to like kind of like her romantically again. Like the 2 of them have a really good vibe going on. And Jaehyung notices this. So he goes to the bathroom several times while they're out doing stuff. Because he's like, oh, let me give them space so they can talk and like have a date. Because he can tell that they're kind of interested in each other. And Mingyang, you know what Mingyang says? Mingyang is like, I decided to put everything that happened in Korea and leave it behind in Korea. She's like in the car, now that I'm in Japan, I'm a new person. I think from now on, it starts for me today. This scene was playing in my room. Yo, you guys have no idea the catharsis. I was so happy when I heard her say that. I was like, yes, Mingyang, it starts today. But yeah, Jaehyung, I feel sorry for him because he doesn't have anything going on with anyone in the house. So he's third wheeling their date essentially, and he keeps leaving so that they can talk. It's so sad. Now it's time for the moment everyone has been waiting for. The big X reveal for everyone. So I'm just going to talk about like the important reactions. They save SeungYong for last because they're saving the fact that like Hyunji has 2 exes as like the big reveal. So like the second ex couple to be revealed was the Baekhyun and Hyunji couple. And when SeungYong sees Baekhyun and Hyunji on the screen and he sees how lovey-dovey they are in the like pre-meeting, because remember they have a pre-meeting where they meet and they talk in a cafe before they enter the house. So he sees their meeting that they had and he starts getting really jealous. Like he's mad. He's mad watching it. And he says in the interview, he's like, I'm mad because no matter how you look at it, it looks like she has feelings for him and she's way more excited to see him than she was to see me. This is what my head started to hurt. So SeungYong, he's drinking. He was already kind of drunk. He went to a Japanese restaurant with Jihyun and he drank there. So he's already kind of drunk when he came back home. But now he's drinking more, watching them, like their pre-meeting, knowing he's about to be revealed as the second ex. And he knows that when he met Hyunji in the pre-meeting, she was not very excited to see him, to be honest. But when she sees Baekhyun, she's like, oh, why are you looking at me like that? Oh my God, why are you looking at me like that? And she's like, oh, you think I'm pretty? Ha ha ha. But then when she sees SeungYong, genuinely, she could not care less. And he knows that. And this is stressing him out because he clearly came here to reunite. The first day that he came in the house, he texted Hyunji. He was like, I want to talk to you. And even after going on the date with Jihyun, he's like, well, I'm still looking for an opportunity to talk to Hyunji. I can already see we have the second Woojin on our hands. Also, SeungYong says that in the past, when he was at Hyunji's house, he discovered the letters Baekhyun wrote to Hyunji. So he found out that Hyunji was still holding on to the letters that Baekhyun wrote her when he was in the military. So when he came in the house, he knew that Baekhyun was the ex. Because of the letters, he knew who Baekhyun was. Do you know how sad that is? That means no matter how I think about it, like, he is a rebound. I think he's in the process of realizing he's a rebound. She was dating him and she still kept all those letters. And then he sees the interview and he can tell that she's excited to see Baekhyun, and he knows that she wasn't excited to see him. I would be crashing out. The fact that he's not crashing out makes me think he's a good... Yo, do you know how I'd be crashing out in real time? If on the TV and everything, I'm seeing it with my own two eyes, I'm realizing in real time I'm a rebound? Worst part is he came here to get back together. It's so obvious he came here to get back together. So also, when Mingyung and Yushik are revealed, Mingyung is crying like crazy and everybody's shocked at like 9 years. They're like, oh my God, they dated for 9 years. Like, everyone's shocked about that. But the most important thing, okay, is that finally his part comes up. And it's like time to reveal SeungYong's ex. Everybody's like, oh, is she gonna come out from behind? They start turning around, trying to see where the new girl is gonna come out from. They're showing the video of him sitting at the table at the cafe, waiting for his ex, like on the projector. And then Hyunji walks in and everybody's watching the TV screen and they're like, huh? Like, no one believes it at first. They're like, what? They're like, oh, like, did they edit this wrong? And they're like, no, I'm her other ex. And everyone's like, what? And like, Wonggyu is like, if y'all did that to me, I would have dropped out the show. Yo, so crazy. So now we finally get to reveal their ex story, and we're going to talk about why they broke up as well. So they dated from January to 2023 to September 2024. They met through a mutual acquaintance of a friend, and then they like drank together at the same spot, and they started gaining feelings. They have a fun relationship. Like, they show videos of them being together. It's like, he's similar to how we saw him with Jihyun, right? Like, he's really fun. He makes like some jokes. He likes to dance in the middle of the street. Like, you know what I mean? He's a fun person. And she seems more like calm in the videos with him, which is why the reason for their breakup is so confusing to me. So they said the reason they broke up is personality difference. So he says, he describes himself like this, by the way. He says, compared to Hyunji, he's a bit colder and like closed up, like emotionally. I find this very confusing because he does not come off like that to me at all. And then he was like, but Hyunji is like very sensitive. Hyunji is a very sensitive and emotional person, which is true. Hyunji is a very sensitive and emotional person. Trust me, I saw in the X room when she cried about Baekhyun like he died. And he's like, oh, like, I'm not good at expressing myself. And so she would be like, oh, if I ever wanted him to do something, I had to tell him to do it. So she was like, if I wanted him to pick me up from somewhere, I have to tell him to pick me up. And I was like, why can't you ever think for yourself to pick me up? And so she felt like she was like, I never know what's on your mind. I never know what you're thinking. The exact reason, the exact incident behind their breakup is really stupid. So Hyunji, remember, he's a dermatologist, okay? He's a dermatologist and he knows a lot about skin and procedures and stuff like that. On the day they broke up, she was asking him for advice on plastic surgery. She was like, I want to get something done. Like, and she was talking about different celebrities, basically being like, what do you think about this celebrity's face or that celebrity's face or whatever? She didn't say what body parts, like what facial part specifically, but she was clearly like saying like, I want to do something. What do you think about this celebrity or that celebrity? And then he was trying to explain something about either the procedure or the celebrity, like I guess whether or not he thought it was possible for her to do. Once again, they speak about this whole thing really ambiguously, I think because they're not trying to make her look super bad for breaking up over plastic surgery or like expose what celebrity they were talking about and what part of her face she wanted to fix, because she may have already fixed it. I think that's why it's spoken about very ambiguously. Essentially, when talking about the celebrity's facial part that she's thinking about replicating on her own face, and while he's trying to explain something related to her, it escalates into a fight, and he's basically like, oh, do I have to write everything down for you on a paper for you to understand? Essentially, he calls her dumb. Am I saying Hyunji isn't dumb? No, but it doesn't sound good to be called dumb to your face, okay? Nobody wants to be called stupid, especially not by the person you're dating. Like, he was basically like, oh, why can't you understand, bitch? Like, that's basically like how it sounded to her. That's how it sounded to me. He kind of right.
I mean, you're not wrong, but you didn't have to say it. I mean, good Lord.
A little bit. That's why I was like, oh. And so because of what he said, I guess also they were not talking about this at home. They were talking about this on the street. So he says that to her. They start fighting really bad in the street. I think it just becomes a whole other problem. They just start fighting about why did he have to speak to her like that, blah, blah, blah. And then it becomes a whole new fight. And then she's basically like, I don't want to talk to you anymore. I'm going home. I'm hurt, whatever. She calls a cab. She goes home. And then they call each other later and they agree to break up because they're like, we can't do this anymore. So that's how they broke up. Now, do I understand how the fight escalated from a discussion about plastic surgery to the fight? No, one, because they don't explain it clearly trying to dance around this sensitive topic and dance around if she got anything done or not. Okay, fine. But because of that, it's really hard for me to understand. I think the core reason of why it eventually ended up into a fight is because he essentially called her stupid. Yeah, seems more like they have different issues before, and this was just the straw that broke the camel's back, essentially. That's what I thought too. Like what she said before, she was like, oh, I always have to tell you to take initiative. I always have to tell you to express yourself. Why don't you just know to pick me up? Why can't you ever just give me flowers? Like, you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Why do I have to, like, I really don't, I hate that energy. I think if you want something from me, you gotta tell me. If it's not like a special day, if it's Valentine's Day, sure, I shouldn't have to tell you. It's Valentine's Day, roll up with some chocolate. But if it's not Valentine's Day, if it's just a random day, why do you need to magically know? Like, for example, in the interview, he said, like, I didn't understand why she would get mad when I didn't just pick her up because I was like, well, what if she doesn't need me to pick her up that day? If she needs me to pick her up, of course I'm picking her up. I'll go pick her up right away. But like, I only know that she needs it if she needs it. I totally thought that made sense. Like, it's not like she's saying, oh, he never picked her up on the holidays or her birthday. But then here's the thing though. You know who did do that for her? Baekhyun. You know who memorized her schedule and picked her up without asking? Baekhyun. You know who wrote her letters every single day without her having to ask? Baekhyun. You see where this is all coming back to, you guys? Are you picking up what I'm putting down? Now that we have the two X's in the full picture, it's not about him, bro. It's that no one is ever as good as Baekhyun. That's the problem. She has someone to compare him to. You guys, I genuinely believe that Baekhyun was the love of her life. I genuinely think that. And when no one treats her as good as Baekhyun, she's like, it's lacking. She wants a guy that just does everything for her. She doesn't want a man. She wants a servant. Sorry, not sorry. You're right. But guess what? Baekhyun was her servant. Baekhyun did that. So like, when, for example, when she fought with Baekhyun would just like, they would fight, but then eventually Baekhyun would be like, oh, I'm sorry. No, you're right. And I love you. And it's all about you. Like he would give in to her. But if she and SeungYong fought, he would try to explain like how they could both do better and how they can move forward and explain like his side and be like, do you see why I didn't agree with you here? Things like that. But she don't want that. You understand? She was treated like God at one point. She doesn't know how to work in a partnership. And when they broke up, he realized that was messed up. Yes, you were correct. I highly doubt that if they got back together again, he would do it again. I agree. But see, that's the thing though. I just think that like no one ever made her feel as loved as Baekhyun did. Now everybody's always getting compared to that. I think that because of that memory is so strong, even if they got back together and Baekhyun didn't do that, she would change because it's Baekhyun. Do you understand? Baekhyun is just the love of her life. No one can ever be Baekhyun. He's the one who got away. This is just so toxic. All her relationships, she's toxic. I'll get into it. That's why I have mixed feelings about her. She is kind of toxic. Not even kind of. She's toxic. Listen, I support women's rights and women's wrongs. But also, like, we can calm down. That's kind of how I feel. Also, I want to say something about the pre-meeting. When they meet in the pre-meeting, the vibe is terrible. Like, so, like, Hyunji walks into the cafe. And she's like, hey. He's like, hi. He's excited to see her. She could not give less of a fuck. She's like, how did you feel after we broke up? And he's like, I felt liberated. And then I felt sad or whatever. She's like, oh, you felt liberated? She's stuck on that. That makes her even more upset to see him. And she's like, well, I didn't feel free, but after we broke up, like I wasn't able to get my emotions in order. But then as time passed, I started to feel kind of like hatred towards you. And I think I still kind of do like hate you. I still have like some kind of anger towards you because you hurt me. And like the vibe is just terrible. The vibe in that room, it's nothing like when she met Baekhyun. When she met Baekhyun, they were so giddy. The chemistry was palpable from the screen. But here, the vibe is awful. Like she wants nothing to do with this man. She's like, I don't know what I'll do when I go in the house. And he's like, me too. And she's like, well, try your best in the house or whatever. So that was that. Like, so also production in this part, they clarify that like they all consented ahead of time and that they knew, like they all knew that like Hyunji was gonna have two exes on the show. Only thing they didn't know was that like who specifically that other ex was. So Baekhyun realized SeungYong was the ex when he entered the house. The way he realized that is that he saw how Hyunji was treating SeungYong, and he was like, oh, she treats him differently from all the other guys in the house. So that's the other ex. That's basically how he figured that out. And then SeungYong talks about the pre-meeting in his interview, and he's like, I think I expressed myself poorly in the pre-meeting. I said that basically I felt liberated, and I wish I hadn't said that I felt liberated because it came out badly. That's why he texted her the day that he came in. For SeungYong, she said 70% she wants to move on. And SeungYong said like mostly, what is this, like 60% or so, 55%, he wants to get back together. So SeungYong mostly wants to get back together, but Hyunji mostly wants to move on. But when Hyunji did her clock for Baekhyun, she said, oh, I really don't know. So this is how it looks to me, okay? SeungYong came on the show to get back together with Hyunji. Hyunji came on the show to get back together with Baekhyun. And Baekhyun came on the show to promote himself as an actor. You see? You see how it all makes sense now? And Baekhyun didn't think there was a problem with that. Because in his mind, he thought Hyunji was on the show to get back with her new old ex, with the guy who came after him. That was his mindset. And he was like, well, I get to promote myself as an actor. I get to see the girl who, you know, left a lasting impression on me in my 20s. And I get to help these two guys get back together. And I don't want to get back together because that shit was way too hard. Everybody wins. No wonder he was acting like that. And no wonder he thought it was okay. She had another man coming. It didn't matter. Now I understand why he's so confused. Why he doesn't believe her. Why he's confused about her wanting to get back together. I bet he didn't even think that was a possibility. Now he's like, the fuck? Now it all makes sense. Oh my lord. Okay, anyways, they're done revealing all the exes. Everybody's in shock. Nobody expected two exes, right? Basically, someone's like, oh, you guys didn't know that there were two exes, and Baekhyun misunderstood like the rules. This is what he said in the interview anyways. He was like, oh, I thought that we had to keep it a secret until the end, that we all consented to be on the show together. And so he thought he had to say that he didn't know that Hyunji would have a second ex. I don't know how he came to this conclusion, but that's what he thought. So he said, yeah, I didn't know. Then Hyunji goes, the fuck? Because she knows that they did know. And then someone else over here asks, oh, you didn't know, to SeungYong? And he goes, because Baekhyun said I didn't know. Now SeungYong is confused, and he also goes, I didn't know. Because he's confused. And he's like, do I have to do what Baekhyun did? So Baekhyun confuses his ass, and he's like, oh, I didn't know too. And then this gets Hyunji tight, because Hyunji's like, well, then what does that make me then? Now I look fucking crazy because it makes it seem like I brought you guys on here without you consenting to have another ex on the show. So she's like, you didn't know? Are you saying that you didn't know? And he's like, yeah, I'm saying I didn't know. And she's like, so do you mean like specifically you didn't know that another ex was coming, or specifically you didn't know who the ex was going to be? And then he's thinking like, oh, so we can talk about it? Like he's confused again. He's like, oh, I mean specifically who the ex is going to be. But I thought you said, and then she's like, oh, but I thought you said you didn't know. And so originally the girl that he's doing well with, Baekhyun is doing well with SeungYong, she was originally sitting over here. So SeungYong was originally sitting next to Baekhyun, and Hyunji was originally sitting over here. But she sees that the two of them are fighting like this, so SeungYong gets up and she's like, I'm gonna drink water. And she walks to sit next to her ex, because her ex is right here. Because she's like, this is uncomfortable. So she gets up and she's like, wow, let me go drink some water. Like, she literally said it like that. And she sits down next to her ex, who is watching them fight. Hyunji was originally sitting here next to the guy that she was doing well with. He's disassociating because he finds this uncomfortable. And then Baekhyun is like, come here, come sit next to me so we can fight closer, you know? So she gets up and she sits over here, and the two of them start to fight. She's like, what do you mean you didn't know? He's like, oh, I didn't realize we could say it. She was like, if you say it like that, what does that make me? Then it makes me look so bad. Like, it makes me look crazy. And their voices are getting louder. Everybody else is trying to disassociate. SeungYong sees them fighting, and they're getting loud. They're getting loud to the point that these guys are like, they can't really ignore them anymore. So he gets up, and look at what he does. He gets up and he touches each of their shoulders, and he's like, let's go outside and talk together, the three of us. He's like, guys, let's go outside and talk. He holds both of their hands. He holds both of their hands, and he walks them outside so that they can talk. It's so crazy. He's playing mediator. Her ex is playing mediator between her old ex and his old girlfriend. What the hell? This is what I mean when I say he's a good guy, though. Who else would do this? Like, he has no reason to do this. He has no reason to help them. Like, if he wanted to, he could just sit there and let them argue in front of everybody and be awkward. Like, remember this, they're fighting right here. Everyone else is trying to pretend like they don't see it because it's so fucking awkward. They just need to become a throuple. You're so right. So anyways, they go outside to talk, and basically she's like, oh, like, why do you have to say it like that? They go back and forth or whatever. He helps them clarify this misunderstanding, and it just clarifies. He's like, oh, Baekhyun just didn't understand or whatever. And then she's like, okay, well then just make sure to explain it properly, because then it makes me look crazy. And he's like, yeah, we'll make sure to explain it. And he's like, it's okay, right? And then he puts his hand in the middle and he's like, let's do a group cheer. He's like, let's do fighting haja. That's what he says. Look at them. Look at them. They're looking at his ass like, are you crazy? Yo, they didn't do it with him. That's the worst part. He's too good for him. He's too nice. You're so right. The worst part is he said, let's do a group cheer. They stared at him and he had to take his hand back. He was like, okay, never mind. No one else to do. Can you believe this? I could never willingly mediate between my ex and my ex's ex and then also say, let's do a group cheer. I could never do that. In the interview, Baekhyun is like, oh, I really respect SeungYong. He's so cool. He's like, oh, he doesn't hate him or anything or feel weird towards him. He just thinks he's cool because he's like, oh, he was so mature. He like took us outside and mediated for us, and like, I just thought he was so cool. What a good Hyung or whatever. Get out, bro. And then basically it ends with like SeungYong having helped them. So he helped them make up, right? He then is like, okay, let's go back inside now that you guys made up. But he's going back inside and the two of them are outside laughing and talking again. So he sacrificed himself to help them make up. They didn't even do the group cheer with him. He's going back inside, and now Hyunji is back to flirting with her old ex. And he's right here. You see why I put the Squidward meme up here? This is what it looks like. Tell me this is not a carbon copy of what's going on. Anyways, this is how the show ends, by the way. It ends with him going back inside, watching them, laughing and being happy with each other again. That's exactly the energy. Yo, SeungYong, please get out of that house. Yo, SeungYong, drop out the show. Yo, they didn't even... Yo, you know what makes me mad? Okay, you want to laugh and talk? Fine. At least do the group cheer. He was so nice. He mediated. He played psychologist for them. Then they leave him. They don't even do the group cheer. Oh my god. Hyunji, what's in that water? What is in that Hyunji water that makes her attract these guys? This is why I feel a little bit less bad for Hyunji. Yushik is the worst guy in the house, and Hyunji's probably gonna end up with him. I think this is karma. Like SeungYong would have been like a very stable, healthy relationship, and it still wasn't good enough for her. Hashtag justice for SeungYong. Can we have some 07s in the chat? Like 07s in the chat for SeungYong, please. Like, I feel so bad for this man. He came here to get back together with Hyunji, and I know it's not gonna happen. She don't give a fuck about that man. I just think I don't think she's a narcissist, but I do think she's a drama queen. You know what I mean? Because she's a drama queen, she's overly emotional, and she has a very idealized perception of what a relationship should be like. What's more, she was actually in a relationship that was very close to her idealized version of what a relationship should be like. So now every relationship she's in afterwards, always, whether she likes it or not, gets compared to that. That's why she still had the letters. And that's why I'm saying that SeungYong was a rebound. I don't think she knowingly made him a rebound. You know what I mean? She didn't date him on purpose being like, you're a rebound. It's just that he was. I'm sure she thought she was over Baekhyun. She's clearly not. And Baekhyun's not really over her either. But like I said before, a part of Baekhyun will always love Hyunji. It's just that he recognizes that their relationship is toxic and so they shouldn't be together. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how things are going to progress from here. I don't even think I can make any guesses. I just feel bad for SeungYong. What are my conclusions from this episode? Yushik is still a piece of shit. Hyunji, you're a drama queen. Baekhyun, I understand you now. I'm sorry that I judged you so early. My fault. SeungYong, you're the best guy in the house. Jaehyung, I don't know why you're here. Yoonyoung, good luck. I can see you're feeling awkward. Mingyong, please stop crying. Stop chasing after your toxic ex. Find someone new. Jiyeon, Wongyu doesn't like you, let it go. Wongyu, stop being a spineless bitch and choose where you want to go. Jihyun, choose SeungYong. Woojin, stop chasing Jiyeon. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know what you thought of episode 13 and 14, if you're happy about where things are going, if you think Mingyong will move on, or she will return to Yushik, and if SeungYong will be successful in talking to Hyunji or not. Girl, I don't know. Thank you so much to everyone for watching. And if you want to watch these streams live, go to twitch.tv/HikariWanchin. And you can join where we do the streams every week on Thursday. The time changes every once in a while, but it's usually on Thursday when I do the recaps. Okay, thank you. Bye, 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 bye.